Yeah, I think I had it like 5 or 6 times this month.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. It was properly posted on January 29th. All three commissioners are here, and the prayer and pledge will be led by District 1.
Good morning. Thank you. We have a special guest this morning. We have Pastor Michael Alexander Sr., who happens to be a county clerk employee and a former District 1 employee, and a first cousin of former Commissioner Willa Johnson. So I will read his bio, and then he can come up and lead our opening prayer. Pastor Michael Alexander Sr. is the founding pastor of the Church Triumphant Ministries, founded in 2007 along with his wife, Sheila, of 46 years. The ministry focuses on the kingdom of God, declaring the kingdom of God in power and authority. Their outreach ministry involves serving the homeless, ministering at the juvenile detention center, and a local nursing home. Pastor Mike was licensed in 1980 and ordained an elder in 1997 through the Temple of Faith Ministries under Apostle Tommy Ransom. The Church Triumphant believes that God is raising up a remnant church in this hour, which declares the name of the Lord in power and authority, with emphasis on the presence of God, the fear of God and holiness, and speaking the truth in love, that we might grow up into Him in all things. Pastor Mike, would you like to come lead our opening prayer? Would you all stand with me? You can come to
the mic. Good morning. Before I start with prayer, it's important that when we pray, we move in agreement. I was asking the Lord, what should I pray? And He reminded me of two things. Number one, about a month ago, we had a series of earthquakes. And scripturally, earthquakes represent a couple of things. Number one, judgment. Number two, a move of God. I believe that those earthquakes were symbolic and not just fracking, because we haven't had any more earthquakes since. All right, so I believe God is speaking. The aspect of God shaking us is a lot of times because when people are in deep sleep, the only way you can wake them up is to shake them. And we need to be awakened to what the Spirit of God wants to do in this hour. All right, so we're going to pray in accordance with the scriptures and what God has to say, what God wants to do in this hour. And the main thing is that we need to pray that God's purposes would be manifest in this hour. Not our purposes, but His purposes. Scripture says, man has many plans, but only the purposes of God will prevail. So we're going to pray in that manner, okay? If you would bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, as we come into your presence this morning, we thank you for the opportunity to do your business. Father, I pray that there would be a spirit of unity and a bond of peace in this place, that the commissioners and all that are involved would set aside personal agendas and focus in on your purpose for why you've called us into this hour. You said in your word, you've called people into your kingdom for such a time as this. Father, let us understand that history is being made. Generations are being impacted, and your will is endeavoring to be accomplished in this place. Father, help us to humble ourselves, realizing that your will and your purposes and your vision. For you said in your word, where there is no vision, the people perish. Father, you've given these county commissioners a vision. Help us to embrace the vision that you've given them, that your purposes will prevail, that your people will be blessed because of the decisions that are made in this council. But it's for your glory that we pray these things in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. Praise God. Let's do our Pledge of Allegiance, if you would. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Mike.
That was good. All right, is there a motion to approve the minutes of January 24th?
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve the claims?
I'll move our claims.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No change to the blanket? There's none.
Okay. Did you move it? I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any individual consideration on the consent docket?
Move it consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
District 1.
Item number 12 is an agreement with Oklahoma City Public Schools for us to redo one of their parking lots. The school is actually in the Del City area, but it's Oklahoma City Public Schools. And they're going to reimburse the county 100% for labor, equipment, and materials. So if there's no questions, I will move the item.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 13 is to accept the appointment from the Tax Commission of Teresa Sellers to the County Equalization and Excise Board. They have to be a resident of District 2, but this is actually the Tax Commission's appointment. So if there are no other questions, I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
District 3.
Number 14 is putting Colton Murphy as the appointee to the PBA committee. That one's not needed. So I'd strike item 14. Item 15 being similar. But item 16 is the policy and governance. I'd like to name Taylor Broyles, which is also listed as an alternate. Colton Murphy will be filling in once February 2nd hits and Don Cash's last day is official. We will swear Colton Murphy in to be an interim for until we can replace the wonderful Miss Don Cash. So I'll make the motion to approve item 16 as Taylor Broyles as the alternate for the policy and governance committee.
Do you want to? So you're wanting to strike 14 and 15 since it's technically a PBA item. Okay.
Yeah, well, one's BOCC and one's PBA. They're not needed. They just ascend to that position.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We don't have to take action. They can just drop off, but we can strike if you'd rather.
Okay.
Either way.
I'll second the striking of 14 and 15.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then 16 is just naming Taylor Broyles as the alternate and striking the first part.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
17 is an agreement for road improvement in Piedmont. There's a Scrivener's error. Colton, if you'd like to come up and explain what the Scrivener's error is, I forget something to do on the contract. Come on. Where'd he go? Oh, did Colton take off? Of course he did. Then, let's see if we can zoom in here. This wonderful system that we have. Nope, this one's correct. So I'll make the motion to approve this one. I thought they had attached the wrong one.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And before we get into item 18, we have a number of citizens who have signed up to speak. Our first is Javon Cooper.
Hello, my name is Javon Cooper. I am a student and a citizen of Del City. I am opposed to the placement of this jail because it is close to 3 different development centers / daycares. First, Over the Rainbow is a child development center established in August 2006. It holds 69 children. It's a 5-star facility. Second, Little Harvard Learning Center, 2101 South Bryant. Its playground is visible from the proposed jail site. The third is Reliant Living Center for Special Needs Adult Assisted Living building. It is across the street from the proposed jail site. I have grown up going to Over the Rainbow and have been going there all my life. My mom owns the daycare and it is a family-owned business. My brother, sister, and I have all walked there. My aunts currently walk there, and the jail in that close proximity would have dire consequences on our family-owned business. I witnessed a lot of kids growing up in Del City and a prison that closed would cause parental concerns and a loss of business. The jail that closed to students' homes, and most of these students walk to and from school. Thank you for this opportunity to speak today, and please remove this site off the list.
Liliana Reese.
Hi, my name is Liliana Reese. I'm from Del City High School. Today I want to introduce a child's perspective regarding their sense of security. As kids, we were always taught the importance of stranger danger. If the proposed location at East Grand Boulevard is selected, there will be over 60 strangers released daily into my community without public transportation. These strangers include first-degree murderers, child molesters, illegal substance traffickers and users, child pornographers, and rapists trying to find where to go next. It's highly likely that they'll see children playing, given that there are 3 child development centers close by. Chances are they'll see middle schoolers getting off at my old bus stop, or maybe they might see a kid walking home from my old elementary school at Burley Heights. All of these places are not even a mile away. Or, great chances, if they have nowhere to go, they'll go to the wooded area nearby, increasing the homeless population. This is already a persistent issue. Also, the detainees from the current facility made 341 calls to the Prison Rape Elimination Act hotline. That is from inside the prison, a guarded, secured place. Imagine what happens when they get out. Are you aware? Because of our current society, my house, my home, is a little over 500 feet from the proposed location. I was never allowed to play in the front yard or go outside by myself. My window is even screwed shut because it was too easy to open. Think what it'd be like. You'll never see another child outside. This will damage my community, creating different problems such as child development issues. We will not socialize. We will not want to go outside the safety of our home, if our home is even safe. Del City is a low-income community. The average income per family in my city is barely above the federal poverty line. We do not have the resources to accommodate these potential changes. Our city has worked really hard to improve our community, how we're perceived, and puts in great effort to ensure safety. We have made substantial strides in bringing in new thriving businesses to provide revenue and grow our economy, trying to create a better home for our families. The proposed location endangers me and the children around me. May I pass this photo to you?
Yes, ma'am. Robert Coon. Robert.
Good morning. It is anyway. Good morning, my friends. It's good to see you again. Last time I was here, last week, I spoke to you in more of general statements. Today, I have more specific questions to ask you. I know that your response won't be immediate, but at least the audience can hear me about about my concerns. My concerns are the location of the site on East Grand. As I've stated before, I live on the corner of 21st and Bryant, so that places me right in the center of everything. So let's say that you find find a location for your new jail. This is a question that many people are wondering. With that structure there, the importance of that land value, what's going to replace it? Has there been a discussion, or do you know of a discussion between yourselves or City Hall about what's going there? Because they're not going to tear down a major structure like that without future planning. So I have my own opinion, and I'm sure everybody else does. So I wish that would come out instead of not secretly uh, a lot of these questions that no one knows the answers to. The second question I have, has there been an environmental study on this area? I know yesterday I read in the paper the city council, that resolution was brought up before them, similar to this, and they voted it down. People just want answers to these questions. When it rains on Bryant there, a lot of water builds up. Well, the water drains west, right where your location is, where you're thinking on East Grand. So what about the flood plans for that area? These are all questions I don't know the answers to. I hope you do, or I hope your commission at some time can come out and tell us about this. Another question is probably really concerning to me is that what is the economic impact? Has there been a study on this, of this area, about for the businesses that surrounds this area and the homes? Because I live right there, and I can imagine, for one thing, about the property value. And talking to my neighbors and passing out some flyers yesterday, these are some questions they're wanting, particularly the elderly people. I don't have the answers for them, but somebody must have some answers, because there's a lot of answers we don't, or questions, and then the answers we don't have. That's all I'm asking. We all be transparent and come forward. And if we don't have, or if you don't have the study available, or one has not been made, right now I'd like to make a formal request that these two studies be made before any other proceedings go, or any other decisions have been made. And I think that's so important. I hope you have a good day, and thank you for listening.
School Board Member Gina Standridge.
Morning. I know your job is incredibly hard, and I've been here many times since September to tell you our fears. But today, I want to go into the fact of some of what the students brought up to you. The Little Harvard Learning Center, I spent a lot of time in that area on Monday afternoon with two community members that are here and a Councilwoman Brown. We walked that area. From the site where the jail will be, it took us 2 minutes to walk to the Little Harvard Daycare Center. 2 minutes. It is across the street. It has a capacity for 120 kids a day. The playground is probably less than 300 foot. That is so concerning to me. They're there all day. It's not just a stadium where kids are there maybe an hour or two for practice a day and on a Friday night game. They're there all day. The Reliant Living Center, it is right next to this daycare. It is all the way from Grand to Bryant on 22nd. It's about a 2-minute walk also, where these are intellectually disabled individuals, special need individuals. They live there. I spoke to the staff there. I spent a lot of time on Monday afternoon with the staff. The staff is at odds as to why you would put that jail there where these patients have no other place to go. Are we going to relocate them? They told me it was over 100 patients they had that lived there daily, stay there. This is their home. The Rainbow Daycare Center is about 800 foot. They house about 65 children a day, all day long, 6 a.m., 6 p.m. Those are very concerning that we have about 400 people who are very vulnerable that we are putting at stake every day, besides our school children. Okay, and so I want to go on to some comments that were made by Miles Davidson at the very end of the last meeting. He said that it was concerning for him. He had a son that went to Rex Reed School, and he did have concerns. But what he didn't take into account is the concerns of our families are probably quadruple to your concerns. I would really love to invite you to Epperly Heights to meet some of our students, because just knowing you, I don't think your son probably ever goes to school hungry. Probably thinks, I got to get to school. I haven't eaten last night. I don't have a coat. I'm cold. I doubt very seriously your son or you has those concerns. So I want to invite you to come to our area, which many of our homes are 500 feet from that location. Dell City will have the biggest impact or take on the impact from that jail. I don't care what anybody says. In walking that neighborhood that day, I spoke to several people who I went to school with their kids. They are now in their 80s. They can't just pick up and move at the end of their lifespan. You know, they were opening the doors to us. That is concerning to me. What will happen when prisoners do get out, and not just violent ones, some that have mental instability that just aren't going to get on your bus to take them back to other locations. I am very concerned about that location. It is 500 foot. We spoke to business owners. They're not happy. There's a couple here today that are right next door to where you're going to put it. You know, I don't know what else to say. But I did get an email asking me, it says, Gina, is history repeating itself? In the 60s, the OU Medical Center needed land because of the health concerns growing. Whose land were they taking? Poverty, mostly black land, right to the east of it. They did take that land. They had no voice. They were voiceless. They were forced into an area that is called 1901 Grand. Later got its name of Hamilton Courts, which that didn't turn out so well. It ended up being crime stricken and all kinds of things going on over there. There were no resources there to help these people. So history is repeating itself. And if you place that jail there, we are destined to all kinds of negativity going on again. So I ask you to take that into consideration and take us off the list for the 4th or 5th time.
Steve Gilliland.
Good morning, commissioners. Steve Gilliland, the head principal at Dell City High School. Can't be quiet anymore. Thank you for this opportunity to speak this morning concerning Dell City as a possibility for relocating the current detention center. I would like to request that the site be removed once and for all as a possibility for relocation, if for no other reason than our kids. To relocate the detention center to a location further away from the services needed by its inmates, but closer to schools, daycares, and a retirement center makes absolutely no sense. Especially when Oklahoma County, I believe, is 621 square miles. There has to be a location that doesn't raise security questions to schools and residents. You've heard previously from our superintendent, Dr. Cobb. You've heard today from, again, from our board member, Ms. Stanridge. And today you've heard from 2 students from Dell City High School. These students are our future. They're a product of the environment that we have created as adults. So please do what's right, do what's best for kids, not what's convenient for adults, and remove this site as a possibility once and for all. Thank you.
Marilyn Woods.
Good morning. My name is Marilyn Woods, and I have lived in Oklahoma City on the northeast side since 2015. I have wonderful neighbors, and the city is doing a great job of improving our neighborhood. I know that right now, northeast Oklahoma City, I believe, has been taken off the list, but when people are vulnerable, when neighborhoods are left to be quieted just simply because of history, it may get back on the possibilities. I'm a person who believes that people who are incarcerated or detained deserve to be treated and to be loved. That's what I believe. But I know in our neighborhood, when you build it up, it cannot bear not the reality, not only the reality, it cannot bear the perception. When people move into a neighborhood and say, oh, there's a detention center right there. So I ask that you choose the medical way. First, do no harm. Thank you.
Amy Boone.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Amy Boone. I live off of Southwest 59th Street, 1 mile from a proposed location at Southwest 74th in Rockwell. And I know you probably haven't heard from anyone over in that area, but I listened pretty closely to what HOK said at the last meeting as to what your criteria is, some of your criteria in evaluating a jail site. One of the criteria was location in the county and travel time to the county jail. This location in regular traffic will take around 25 to 30 minutes to reach the courthouse. It is in the far southwest corner of Oklahoma County. It's within 1.5 miles of 2 different counties and within 4.5 miles of a third county. I highly doubt those counties want our problem. But it's 12.5 miles from the Oklahoma County Courthouse. One of the other criteria was lot and topography of the location, and I put these together because while you can have 162 acres of property, only 62 of those acres be usable. The site sits on a slope on both sides, and in heavy rains, it provides runoff from Rockwell. This site also has 4 retention ponds, 1 active oil well, 1 active injection well, and 3 capped wells. What pollution studies have been done on this site? Does the seller have oil rights to the wells, or will the county have to purchase those? And what is the plan if you have to build around these wells to give the owner of the wells access to them? One other thing I want to talk about is utilities in the area. City sewer does not run out there. It is going to cost so much taxpayer dollars to get the sewer out there. The water pressure fluctuates out there. And I'm sure that's going to increase exponentially with over 1,000 to 2,000 more residents. My landlord at my property had to invest $15,000 in an aerated septic tank. And that's just for my house that has 4 people in it. What is that going to cost if you have to do that for over 1,000 people? There are 0 sidewalks over there on heavily traveled 2-lane roads. In an area of the city that has a large pedestrian versus auto accident rates, there's little to no street lighting, so roads will need to be widened in multiple sections to make it safe for citizens, students at the FAA, and detainee releases alike. There's no bus lines near this site. The nearest bus stop is 4 miles away. But let's kind of forget about the detainees when they need to leave. What about their loved ones that want to come visit them? And while there are no schools in that community, there's a park just up the road. And when detainee green space is more important to the county commissioner board than children having green space to play safely, and without fear, there needs some changes to be made here. And I voted for this bond, believing, like so many residents of Oklahoma County, that the county jail would go back downtown where it was. And that's where it needs to stay. And until you can, and if you had been transparent in saying there's a chance we're not going to put it there, I don't know that it would have passed it, because no one wants it in their neighborhoods. No one wants it near their schools. Please do better. Thank you.
Dr. Kevin Hill.
Good morning. It's good to see you all again. I thank you for this opportunity. I want to first thank the young people who came up. Yeah, let's give them a round of applause. I'll take my time to do that. I want to thank Lily. That's a girl that I was her principal in second grade, and she deserves the best. Over the past few weeks, I have had many candid conversations with current and retired police officers, firefighters, current and former jail employees, and even trolley drivers to get a perspective from those who work downtown near the current jail site. Many sympathize with our challenge, but also don't want a jail built near their neighborhoods, daycares, or school. A matter of fact, it was a statement made that I was going to say, but I do not want to disrespect this forum. It was that heinous, and I just said, man, our community deserves better than that. There was a resounding statement was to build a new facility, to just build a new facility downtown with modern amenities. We had a town hall a few days ago, and there was elected officials, people, hundreds of people that are very smart that said, really, this is the best option, no matter what the guys last week said in that presentation. The infrastructure is already in place, and this is the best option. I hope and pray I'm wrong, but many of us in our community of Dale City feel like we'll be the sacrificial lamb for 800 citizens of Oklahoma City. We're not trying to pit us together, but I heard that number last week. Somebody on this board passionately said, we're making a decision for 800,000 citizens. And that's when I knew we don't stand a chance. The second paragraph of the United States Declaration of Independence, we all had school, says, we hold these truths to be self-evidence that all men be created equal. I was taught that this is real stuff. I mean, I'm an educated man. I was taught this is what our country, our forefathers said. Unfortunately, even today, there are people that live in communities of poverty that don't have faith in those elected officials who are supposed to uphold these truths. Action speaks louder than words on a document. I'm a flat out say it. What we're seeing today has deep roots in our city, country, and state. Put jails on the edge of town or across the tracks. They won't like it, but what can they do about it? You have a very difficult decision to make. Yes, you do. Years from now, you, not me, but you will be remembered either for making a progressive, innovative, and forward-thinking decision or retreating back to the dark days of our nation, state, and city, making decisions for those only with power, influence, and privilege. It says, in God we trust. I'm a pastor too. I trust him. Jesus' word said, as you treat the least of thee, that's how you treat me. That's Matthew 25:40. In God we trust.
Ty Hardiman.
Thank you. May I have just a printout? May I hand this out? Okay. That's fine. I have more of these. This is an image of 1901 East Grand Boulevard. My name's Ty Hardiman. I've been on Grand Boulevard a couple of blocks away from here. I have a business there for the last decade. I know this area well. The parcel of land here is the Hamilton Courts, as my colleague spoke of earlier. This was a public housing project from the 1970s that only took a decade from construction to ruin. Why did Hamilton Courts fail? because it wasn't built in a good location. City leaders at the time tried to hide the unhoused and disenfranchised away from the core of the city without considering the consequences. We appear perilously close to doing this again. Hamilton Courts failed because there is no human scale support system there. This part of Grand Boulevard does not have a means to support the individual person. It's oil wells and an electrical substation, an animal shelter, a golf course, and a public park. County jail statistics show the release of 62 people daily, or should I say nightly. Where do these people go when released? The nearest gas station is more than a mile away. The nearest public toilet is beyond. In 2009, Del City spent considerable money acquiring and destroying the Kirsty Manor apartments to help clean up problem areas in their city. Just last year, the city of OKC made decisions in court with the Plaza Inn. We still have unhoused people in Trosper Park and the areas surrounding it. Hamilton Courts was built to serve the needs of the community, much like the Oklahoma County Detention Center. But the Hamilton Courts wasted millions of dollars on the right building in the wrong location. The 1991 Detention Center wasted tens of millions on the wrong building in the right location. In your efforts to find a place to detain citizens, you have failed to find a place to set them free. Please break the cycle and stop making the same mistakes over and over. This isn't your money to spend, it's our money to spend. And we deserve a high return on our investment. We insist that the new Oklahoma County Detention Center be required to better the lives of those in it, of those surrounding it, and of all members of Oklahoma County. Please put the new county detention center in the right location in downtown Oklahoma City.
Jim Hightower.
You heard it a while ago. Listen to the kids. They are our future. They are our future. I'm a resident of Del City, and I opposed the site at 1901 for East Grand. I'm a protector. 50 years I've protected family. 22 years in the Air Force protecting. Pleasure to serve. 22 years an educator. Protecting also. And the other night after the town hall meeting, I heard on the Monday night, news, Channel 4, 10 o'clock, and what I heard, I became livid. Your lawyer talked about the sexual predator statute, and he said the jail would be exempt from this statute. They're exempt from this law because the inmates have no choice about where they're going to be housed. So you're going to let prisoners, you're going to let sexual predators out into the neighborhood around Del City there, and these children walk to and from school every day. They come home at night. They may not have parents there. That makes me sick to think about that. They're going to be hiding, basically, in their own homes. I'm paying attention to this. Are you? I'm sorry. I'm fed up with it. This is my fourth time down here. I'm fed up with coming down here and fighting to have this removed from the list, from your list. And, what we've got is the current jail, but we've got all these investors lining up to buy it. And that's not fair. You're sworn to protect the people. These people. I'm tired of it. Your office has not been a good steward of taxpayer money. It cost approximately $30 million, I believe, over 30 years ago to build this jail downtown. It was a mecca. I mean, it was beautiful. Now it's going to be torn down, you know. That's what you want. The jail may have been shoddy from the start, but you guys, not you, but your office, oversaw the construction of this jail. You know, you can blame the builders and the architects, but, you know, y'all hold accountability for it also. You know, when I build a house, it has to last a lifetime. Be good stewards of our money. The jail is not disposable. We're talking $300 million. It's a lot of money. And if you break it down, that's about $150,000 per inmate. We've got some schools out there that would love to have $150,000 per student so they could have an inviting school, so they could have natural sunlight lighting the area. Mayor Holt said it best in an email that I read. The jail in its current location hasn't hurt the economy in the area. In fact, the businesses around and to the south of the jail are flourishing. So keep the jail in the current location if it's that great, you know. You have prisoner resources there. Del City already has a dump to the north and a dump to the south. We're talking dumps, major dump, Mount Trashmore. That's what we call it, down by 240. Nobody wants your jail. The federal government doesn't want it. Choctaw doesn't want it. Hera doesn't want it. Luther doesn't want it. Harding Public Schools does not want it. Northeast Oklahoma City does not want it. The First Americans don't want it. Del City definitely doesn't want it. Crooked Oak doesn't want it. They don't want this in their backyard. Even the cattle don't want it at the stockyards. Keep it in the current location. Del City will not become the next Northeast Oklahoma City that you have dumped on all these years. Thank you.
Marty Minor. Marty.
Good morning. Morning. I just want to take time to lift up the council. Ms. Carey, Brian, Miles. Lord, I just ask that you help them, give them peace in their decision. Give them the courage to make the right decision. Lord, just lift them up. Give them peace. Amen. After you guys make this decision, you guys will be gone, but the jail will be in place. We're gonna have the jail all of our lifetime. So that's why it's important to make the right decision. Making the right decision is not always the best decision. So I ask that you guys take the time, listen to the people, put them in priority at the top of your list. You know, with all these external forces, money, whatever, put the people at the top. Listen, it's common sense. So that is my prayer for you all in your decision making. I'm a business owner, and I'm auto repair. And this woman came in taking her daughter to college, driving. She didn't have any brakes. She couldn't pay for it. So I had to make the right decision. I put brakes on her car for free, but it came at a cost. It was my cost. I took that cost, but it was the right thing to do. So I could sleep in it. Hey, she's safe. Making the right decision is not going to be easy. So that's why we are praying for you, that you listen to the people. And also the book of Esther, you all have been called for such a time as this. She came from nothing, rose to be a queen, but it was not to enjoy being it was for her people. That's why God raised her up for her people. So take that, read the book of Esther, and pray about your decision to make the right decision. And I'm going to drive that in. Making the right decision is not always the best decision, and it comes at a cost. And I pray that you all are willing to pay that cost. So my ask is that you listen to the people and that you pray about your decision and you just make the right choice. In Jesus' name, amen.
Deborah Simpson.
Good morning. My name is Deborah Simpson. I'm a former educator, and I also served 20 years in the United States Air Force. I think the best location would be the present location. I heard someone say that it would cost too much. How much is too much? In the long-term impact it would have years from now. If the location is near a school, I believe the cost would be astronomical in terms of the effects of the mental health it would have on those living nearby. Most significantly, the children. I can hardly imagine what it would be like to grow up near a prison whose reputation, unfortunately, here in Oklahoma, has a reputation for the mistreatment, brutalization, and killing of its inmates is legendary. Oklahoma, as we know, has some problems that have yet to be solved. Of note is the fact that Oklahoma has, according to one source, and I quote, an incarceration rate of 993 per 100,000 people, including prisons, jails, immigration detention, and juvenile justice facilities, meaning it locks up a higher percentage of its people than any other democratic country on earth. End quote. I haven't heard anyone mention Moore, Norman, or Edmond, or Nichols Hills as possible sites. Someone said that building the facility downtown would disrupt the flow of traffic. These, in my opinion, are not strong enough reasons. Almost all over Oklahoma City, some type of construction is going on. We're being inconvenienced, but we accept that it is necessary to make our lives better. I would like to hear some estimates on the cost of rebuilding the jail at the current location. I really don't think the cost should really be a consideration. And I'm going to end with a quote that says, "A civilization is measured by how it treats its weakest members." Thank you for your time.
Yes, Eddie.
Good morning, Commissioners. This almost had me in tears, Mr. Hill. That's my elementary school principal, and that's how I was taught. And he's right. This governance, the way the considerations that are going into this building are not consistent with the principles that are taught in schools to children about how we represent them. We're not getting the information that we want. We're not getting receipts. We're getting statements that are unsupported, and not from all of you, but from some. And it's frustrating because it's the public's money. And there's an interest at play here that's in the room but's hidden, that you all have the power to identify and bring into the conversation, instead of all of us who have much less power having to come down here repeatedly. And that's the commercial interest downtown. You guys don't seem to have our back on that. And quite frankly, I'm getting more acknowledgement. I mean, I've worked on 6 months to convince you that Tulsa jail 2-story could go downtown, after like putting those facts in your faces. And honestly, the conservative commissioners have acknowledged that potential. But my commissioner is continuing to advocate for 74th and Rockwell, and not acknowledge and not advocate for downtown OKC. And I want to know why. I just want to know why. Someone said it's the cost. You haven't told us what the cost is. If it's the process, tell us it's the process. And what is the process? If it's the logistics, what are the logistics? Bring these things to the people to discuss, because it's our money. This is our decision. You represent us. I've got 200 signatures here of the 300 or so that showed up to the town hall. And it was unanimous. They signed this petition. The below residents of Oklahoma County do hereby express their position that the new Oklahoma County Detention Center should remain at or near the site of the current detention center in downtown Oklahoma City. It is furthermore the opinion of the signatories that this position is in the best interest of the community of Oklahoma County and the persons who will be detained in the new facility, and is therefore the common good. I don't think it's too much to ask to have the common good championed here. And considering what we've all gone through for the last 30 years, I think that's the only right thing to do. And that's all anyone here is asking for or has ever asked for in this situation.
Michael Washington.
Speaking now. Everyone. I'm told, y'all know when I speak, I don't believe in being calm, because the storm is now not ready to be calmed, but to be overtaken by the power that you people have today. Now then, sure to show this is tradition of mine. Now then, I don't even live in Dale City, but some folks at Michael go down in and tell you of what your righteous indignation stands for the representative of the people, because that's what I do. No one has talked about yet that there have already been escapes from the current jail. Can you imagine how many of our children are going to be harmed and possibly taken advantage of, as well as the elderly people and others, should an escape occur? What about the cars that are close by? What about the kids on the side ready to go home by mom or dad? What about the holes that were already penetrating into the current facility in which contraband was let up and down in? Let's talk about the real issues here, which has already come before me. Let me congratulate those that came before me. I'm now after them. And certainly there will be some after me. Now then, give these people the same voice that you've already given Nichols Hills folks, who then told you no and a resounding no, don't put that over and don't come back to us no more, before it even came before the board. These people deserve to have the same perspective, respect, honor, and dignity as everyone else. To move a facility in a neighborhood of this kind would certainly cause an avalanche. You know what an avalanche is, a boiling over point? An avalanche of fears, concerns, pain, suffering, and even heartaches that we all are trying to outdo today. Don't need. Now then, y'all have often heard me say that it's a great thing to keep a facility where it is now. Why? Weren't you now recently approved of $300 million? Are you not already still pouring millions of dollars now on certain floors in there? Why is the continual waste going on if we don't intend to leave it there? This would be a great spot. We don't care about what some business person wants that spot to be, because you got to come to us now. Go get your own. Don't bother us. Nobody, I'm going to tell you, I have respect for all human beings. There are going to be some in that jail I don't like, and I'm not making a decision upon them. I'm working and speaking on the folks who are out here safe and sound, who do not should be lumped in as to what's going on. Let me say, oh, but this word is nothing if you don't take the decision upon yourselves. If you don't say, oh, now let me say this, I'm getting ready to close. Y'all know I get excited when it's almost time to close. There are many other places in the state of Oklahoma, a lot of highways and byways that you can put that jail out of everybody's harm's way. If you really wanted to. Now, let's just keep it real. But I already tell you, what is the real incentive here? Is there an onus on us to do the right thing? Just call on me because I'll set you free. Let me go. Bam. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger said, I will be BOCC. Thank you.
Melania Branch.
Hi, good morning, commissioners. Oh, no, you're good. Thank you. I'm Melina Brock. I spoke with you last week, and again, thank you for allowing me to speak. Good to see you, Carrie. So as I mentioned before, I'm the leader of 2,500 moms in the Midwest City area, and also the leader of a nonprofit, Building Generations, that serves the Middle area for pregnant moms and lower income families. Again, thank you for allowing me to speak. And also, I know that this has been a challenge. And so first I want to show honor where honor is due. You guys have worked really hard. Miles, you're on the board of the jail. Brian, you're in that tough spot in Oklahoma City where you're trying to, all that pressure is coming at you. I apologize for where that's put you position-wise. And Carrie, thank you for your support and advocating for our area. I know there's the fear of losing the $50 in ARPA funds. And I know that a lot of concerns have been brought up about transportation, transfer, the courts. And from what I understand, this does allow there to be a court inside the jail, from what I understand. Is that accurate? To help prevent some of that. I know you guys brought up about CJAC helping with transportation. And so I think just ultimately, I know you're trying to find solutions to a lot of what we are bringing up. So do you know that we're crediting that to you guys and the work that you and your citizen council has been working on? So I don't want to trudge up old dead bodies in the closet. I don't. But I am very much a history nerd, if you will. And not many people know that the founder of Midwest City in the 1940s was in the inner circle of E.K. Gaylord. He worked his way up and was privy to information that not many people were privy to due to his connection with E.K. Gaylord. And so when he found out what the government was looking for the land for Tinker Air Force Base, instead of inviting E.K. Gaylord into that, he instead went by himself and founded Midwest City without inviting Oklahoma City into the deal. Ever since then, there has been a wedge between Midwest City and Del City and Oklahoma City. A lot of the programs don't go to our side of the city. We don't get a lot of support and help, and some of that's our fault because we have also been prideful. And I want to repent on behalf of the city for that because that's not okay because we're a full county and we are meant to work together. So in saying that, as the big brother of Oklahoma City to Midwest City and Del City, please make the sacrifice of keeping it in Oklahoma City. You have the infrastructure. You've spent 50 more years of time than we've had to get this started. And we want a better future between Midwest City, Del City, and Oklahoma City because we bring value to this county. We bring economic value, family value, and I'm sorry if we have not been working with you well enough in the past. You say that shine is about Oh, let's see. I don't want to cry. You say that shine is for every neighborhood. And I know that's your baby, your project. I know that you love that. I know Bob loved it. But show me that this jail being put here is not because of a bias or a grudge from the past. Please show us that our neighborhood is part of every neighborhood. And please, as a leader, I know we want to be a leader in this region. Oklahoma City is a leader in this region and a light in this region. And you can set an example for other major cities that you're willing to take the sacrifice and put it in your city, downtown, where the structures are, instead of putting it on the little guy. Because it will take us down. We will fight, we will try to put in infrastructure, but this will have a 2 to 3 generational impact. This is a 30-year impact that you guys have the ability to buffer in downtown that we don't have. And it will be completely inconvenient. It'll be hard. It'll have a cost. But please, I know you care about this. Please. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to the future.
Lloyd Brown.
Good morning. I just want to talk about Dell City a little bit. I was moved there when I was 1 year old. My mom and dad bought a house. My dad went to work at Tinker, and most of my life I've lived there. My parents lived there till they died. When they died, I moved back there about 6 or 7 or 8 years ago. And during that time, I've attended a lot of council meetings and become part of the community, doing some volunteer work in there. And I hope I've made some difference. In the last 5 years or so, I've noticed that we've included a lot of money into improving our police force, which is one of the top ones in a small city in the state. Same thing for the fire department. It's one of the best fire departments in the state. Our ambulance service that we've just had a contract on the last year and a half is a great service to us. Response time, 5 to 6 minutes. All of that was provided for by the elected officials in Dell City, the employees of Dell City, the volunteers, and the citizens. We've all contributed money to making those things better so we have a better city. What I fear, well, let me just add one other thing. The Dell City is also such a neighborhood city, small business kind of city. A community comes together. There's a neighborhood watch in every part of that city. And when our neighborhood watch that I belong to, when we have a picnic or a city community get together, the police show up, not to haul people away, but to show that they know who lives in that area. And right back and forth, the fire department shows up. The mayor often shows up. Other members of the elected officials will show up. That just means that we're a tight community, but we're kind of like on the edge. We've provided as much as we can, but we don't have the facilities to go further. And that brings me to the point of putting the jail near our city. The fire department, I mean, if there's some kind of an emergency at the city, at that jail, the first responders are going to be our police department. We're just a mile away. First responders for fire is going to be provided by our fire department, just 5 minutes away. Same thing for ambulance service. All those things are going to be the first responders, which we developed and paid for, but Oklahoma City has not. The ambulance service is the same service that provides for Tinker. If that ambulance service goes to the new city jail, then Tinker is going to provide service for us. And that's going to put them at a lower point to provide. So all those things are our concerns. And you've heard about the children, the educational systems and stuff in Dell City, people walking for exercise. All those people are going to be in danger. And so that's why I think that you should find a different location. The downtown seems the best to me, but Oklahoma City has 750 square miles. There's room to find another place besides next to Dell City that's going to impact our city so greatly. I just think that's a bad choice, and there are better choices to be made. Dell City is 7.5 miles. That's 100 times bigger than our city. You guys could do better, I think, in finding a different location. It's kind of like David and Goliath. You know, the big city of Oklahoma City, lots of population compared to our 25,000. The size of it compared to our small size. I just wish that you would find a different location that will help Dell City to maintain and continue to improve. I love Dell City. I love Country on Board in USA. That provides me for a forum that I can come and speak at. And whether you guys are listening to me and the citizens of Dell City, that is yet to be found out. And the way we'll know is if you decide to move that jail to another site. Thank you.
Senator Kay Floyd.
Good morning. Thank you all for having this open forum. My name is Kay Floyd. I'm a state senator here in Oklahoma. I work out at the Capitol. Some of the people in here are my constituents. And after redistricting, I got part of Dell City. It had been Oklahoma City the entire time I've been up at the Capitol, but then I've had parts of Dell City for the last few years. And I will tell you that the people of Dell City are very special. They really are. And some of them are here, my constituents, but I'm here to speak for my constituents who can't be here. I understand, and a lot of people understand the complexities of this issue. The East Grand location is a poor choice, not just for Dell City, but overall for the long-term scheme of things. The having Crooked Oak and then on one end and having the daycares on the other end is going to present a lot of problems. I have met with city leaders. I've met with my commissioner. I've talked to a lot of people. I've talked to people in Dell City. I've talked to the superintendent. I've talked to principals. I've talked to the mayor. I've talked to the Dell City Chamber. And overall, even though they agree they want the new jail, we've got to do better and find a better location. Now, I understand, because my commissioner has taken time to explain the intricacies of this, that we have a time problem because we have federal money and ARPA money coming in and an obligation to spend that within a certain period of time. But we've had time, and it's time to make a decision that's best for the whole area and not just one part or another part. I'm asking that you all consider moving it away from the East Grand location. I'm asking you all on behalf of my constituents for you to take that location off the table. I know it's been on the table and then off the table a few times, but there are better choices and safer choices than the East Grand location. Thank you.
Cynthia Tankum. Cynthia.
Good morning. My name's Cynthia Tinkham. I'm a resident of Southwest Oklahoma City. Lived in Oklahoma most of my life. I'm a retired military officer, served 33 years in the United States Army and the Oklahoma Army National Guard. Oklahoma is my home. I was born here, raised here, my family's here, worked here most of my adult life. I first want to say I'm just compelled to speak today because I'm late getting to this party, and I'm ashamed that it's taken me this long to start paying attention to this issue. I want to apologize to my fellow citizens of all the communities that may be impacted by the decision of this site selection. I'm not here to plead for my own neighborhood. I'm here to plead for all these neighborhoods. My concern has been, like I said, I'm late to the party, so I've been trying to take a crash course, trying to educate myself. Went to the town hall meetings, have, tried to reach out, get the answers. And what upsets me and alarms me is it's so hard to find out why the current site isn't being fully considered, or is it? I don't know. It shouldn't be that hard for me to find out. I understand it's complex. I don't want to oversimplify anything or assume anything, but give me the benefit of the doubt, give my fellow citizens the benefit of the doubt that we can understand if we're explained, or if these issues are explained and the nuances and so forth are explained to us. So that's why I'm here today. I just want to again express my concern. I want to know what our priorities are. I am so proud of Oklahoma City and the development. I'm blessed that I get to enjoy a lot of that. I regularly attend Thunder games. I'm downtown doing all kinds of things. I love it. But where are our priorities in this issue? I want to see the jail remain where it's at. And I want to know that every effort's been made to do that. And I want to understand if it has to go outside, explain it to me so I can accept it. But please, I know you don't want to put it in anyone's neighborhood either. So please assure me that you're doing that. Thank you.
Councilwoman Claudia Brown.
Hello again, commissioners. Thank you so much. You guys have heard everything before, and I do not want to continue to repeat myself, as you guys are very much aware of how I feel about the 1901 East Grand location. And today, what I wanted to talk about is the history of that location. I know some other people have actually brought it up, but I want to bring up Hamilton Courts one more time. $6.6 million Hamilton Courts public housing project cost. It was a model project designed to house refugees from urban renewal war on blight. Groundkeepers described the concept as a showplace for the city. At that time, they did dump a lot of money in there, and they had a lot of great hopes for that. But again, in about 2 years, it started going down. And again, this was the housing authority's responsibility. And I understand that that's not yours, but I kind of compare the housing authority to what the jail trust might actually do. And they may not handle the situation any better. Opened in 1969 as somewhat of a monumental monument to the social welfare programs of past administrations, the project at Southeast 15th and Grand has been unoccupied for 5 years, standing at the ultimate in bureaucracy, error, and poor planning. It was an albatross at that time that is now a national embarrassment to all concerned, said one politician who witnessed the vandalism, arson, and riots of the project. Back then, Council Member Bill Bishop, who is deceased, bless his heart, and rest in peace. At that time, his quote is very much similar to today's situation. He says that the site of his ward was actually picked by the Commerce, not the Housing Authority. And that was, he said, back in 1969, the Chamber of Commerce, not the Housing Authority, picked the site in his ward, and he tried to get the displaced persons as far from downtown as they could. His first knowledge of the project location became he found out by just reading the newspaper, and he was a council member for that ward. There was no preparation from an educational standpoint, Bishop said. It was doomed as a failure from the very beginning. And I want to also quote Ms. Thelma Parks, because she had something to say about that area. And she also said that the location, in my opinion, that relocated the residents of JFK into that area, into a wilderness. They were put there with no amenities and no transportation, and there was no place for them to go. It is the same situation now. There is still no transportation. There is nothing there for them. Within 2 to 3 years, that complex just went terrible, and it was there for years. I believe after we run out of money, after you spend your ARPA dollars on transportation, on adding a court, on putting a new police station there, on adding new buildings for people to stay and sleep overnight, I believe that you're going to end up running out of money. And those pictures that you guys presented of how beautiful it's going to be half that. I think, from what history shows, it's not going to be represented well. And just like Hamilton Courts, it will fail because there's nothing around there. And then also, I would like to say that our city of Del City, even though Oklahoma City did not pass a resolution to ask for information, I do want to remind you that the city of Oklahoma City did ask in writing and was sent to you. The metric study is being requested for all sites still in consideration for acquisition, including but not limited to the area at 1901 East Grand. We want the metrics, the proximity of the potential site from educational institutes, parks and public spaces, childhood facilities, and residential neighborhoods. The proximity of the potential site from available resources for released detainees, such as public transportation, nonprofit organizations, and temporary shelters. These metric studies should also be are also being in request with Oklahoma City's request. We want to see those numbers. We want to see those metrics. I want to know how far away it is, and I want to see those same ones for Oklahoma City as well. And then just another reminder that Trosper Park is one of the largest metropolitan parks of Oklahoma City, and there has been nothing that has been done to that area. And I believe that some of those ARPA dollars should actually go to helping that Trosper Park, to adding transportation there for our neighborhoods, and to just continue to remember the past, and let's not repeat the past, because again, that is not a viable location. And I appreciate your time. So thank you guys so much. Remember the past.
Councilwoman Nikki Nice.
Good morning. This is probably my fourth time. I can count my times being here as well. Yesterday, we had a council meeting, and as you just heard from Councilwoman Brown, unfortunately, there are some within our council who don't believe we should ask for that transparency from you all in writing as far as a resolution is concerned. There are a few of us that do, because our communities are going to be more impacted than anyone. And the issue of this conversation of us bringing this resolution forward yesterday was because there was a meeting held with 4 council members last week with a couple of board commissioner members, without other council members being privy to that conversation. So that makes me think, what is really going on? Where are these decisions being made? Because they are not being made open in the public. And because I'm in city council, trust me, I know what that means. I know what that means. And that's very disappointing that at least a few of our council members have not been able to have the same conversations that other council members get to have. Is it because it's going to be in our backyard? That's why we're not having these conversations. I think we would be privy to know, at least for our constituents' sake, what is at stake and what we need to know in order to be informed for them. Because people ask us questions all the time about what is going on. And guess what? We have no answer. I show up just as that newspaper article said, it happens to me. I read it in the paper. That's how I show up. Somebody calls me. That's how I know. It's not because I'm privy to the information, and our city manager is not giving us the information. So I am very baffled and perplexed about what this process looks like and what it is going to look like in the future. I know we have seen plans to say why it won't work in the current location, but we haven't seen plans of how it could. So help us to understand these things for our community and for our constituents. Yes, the city is 621 square miles. We understand that. Oklahoma City proper. But again, the infrastructure has already been built. You're a part of this infrastructure in this building. It's right down the street. We have already seen the expenses and the ways that it has been undone as far as being able to be helpful if you take it outside of this location. Yes, you will still need money wherever you put it. Why not let's ask for that money where it is? Thank you for your time.
I'm not sure if I got this right. Cynthia Crankely? Crankely? I apologize if I got it wrong.
It's filled anyway, it's all good. It's probably my handwriting.
Okay.
Thank you, commissioners. I appreciate you all for doing this. This is a tough job. But what I would like to do is I'd like to remind you all of what platforms you ran on. Miles. As commissioner, Miles will focus on increasing public safety by supporting law enforcement, growing the economy, fighting federal overreach, and maintaining the infrastructure of Oklahoma County. Miles will encourage economic growth with an eye on fiscal responsibility and the safety and security of our community by supporting all law enforcement. This is your stuff. Mr. Mon, you've created the Shine, which I know you're very proud of. But you've also said you want to clean up scandal-plagued commissioners' offices and stop misuse county property. And you want to put the taxpayer first. And Carrie, she's not here. Carrie says transparency and honest government. One of Carrie's top priorities is to ensure our county is truly working for its residents and spending your tax dollars as equitable as possible. Since taking office, Carrie has worked to shine a light on what the county does, what public services are offered, how it spends its money, and how decisions are made among its leaders. No resident should feel uninformed or left out, which is kind of what we're all feeling. I mean, I don't know if I'm speaking for y'all, but I'm speaking for me. I don't feel like y'all are being transparent. So that I just wanted to do. Y'all want to be a big city? Then let's be a big city. Big cities have jails in their downtown. New York City has a jail downtown. It has the infrastructure surrounding it. Los Angeles has a jail downtown, has all the infrastructure surrounding it. It's not somewhere else that you're not going to have the resources. So, and it doesn't affect the investors because in New York City, just a few blocks away from one of the main jails in New York City is Tribeca, $2 to $3 million apartments. You know, if you want to be a big city, I mean, we could be a big city. You don't have to move the jail. So your short-term inconvenience, because I did hear, somebody else talked about Hawk. I heard, some of their issues that they had is that they said they talked about their inconveniences of lay space. They talked about some other things, digging down deeper. So the deal is that it's going to have to be done anyway, whether it's by you or investors. So that shouldn't be an issue. That inconvenience is going to last, a few years? The inconvenience that is going to be for you putting a jail other than here, especially I'm a Del City resident. If you're going to put a jail over there, what's going to do is it's going to be an inconvenience, and I'll use air quotes for that one, an inconvenience for generations to come. So now I'm going to talk to some of the issues that others spoke about. Student was it Liliana? Yes, she talked about stranger danger. Now, and Gina, she also spoke about, that these kids are already in survival mode. And I know this is one of your babies about, mental health. These kids are already in survival mode. They already suffer from a form of PTSD. And then a pandemic hits. Now there's a new term coined. It's called pandemic PTSD. So now every time a kid goes to a supermarket or someplace, they see plexiglass. I mean, not even just a kid, I do. I am reminded of the pandemic every single time I go and I see the circles on the ground and I see plexiglass up there. So all of us can't, well, all, don't generalize, but there are people who still are feeling the effects of this pandemic, this PTSD. These kids were told that they were going to kill their grandmas. They were going to told that they were going to kill their teachers. So they had to learn how to do school at home. And so with that being is that they're developmentally delayed, they're socially delayed, they're mentally delayed. So now what's going to happen is you're going to put a jail in their backyard, and they're going to be concerned about someone else killing grandma. And they're going to be afraid, and they're going to be concerned about being attacked or being raped. These kids are our future, and all y'all are going to be long gone at some point. Some might be, you'll retire or get voted out or whatever. But I want to say, be a big city and keep the jail downtown where the resources are and where it belongs. Because all these businesses, they already know the jail is here. The investors are not saying, I'm not investing because there's a jail there. They're still coming here. We're still growing. The arena is still coming in. The investors that are looking to build, high rises for apartments, they're still coming in. The jail is here, unless there's a promise that says somewhere that, a lack of transparency promise. It says we'll move the jail out of there so that you can have your spot. So I'm asking for you to keep the jail site where it is. I know Mr. Eddy has said that he went to the local people, the local properties, and they said that they would be willing to sell. So that's my piece. Keep the jail where it is. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
This item was requested by our citizen chairman, Steve Mason. Is he still here? Yes. Do you care to speak, Mr. Mason? Yes.
Good morning. My name is Steve Mason. I have the pleasure of chairing the Citizens Bond Oversight Advisory Board. Thanks for working hard on a very difficult topic. My oversight board for the new jail has been in existence since first of last year. At our last meeting, and my members are Larry Stevens, Joanne Davis, Mike Mize, Pat McCoy, and Sandino Thompson, and Javier Niera. We passed a resolution I'd like to share with you stating the obvious that all of us agree with about it's important to start construction as soon as possible. Our motion is we are fast approaching, and if not approaching, a point at which we're having continuing increased costs. We lose our flexibility and ability to be creative on ensuring that we can make full use of the ARPA funds and stay ahead of escalating of cost regarding this project. Time is of the essence. And I think everyone in this room agrees time is of the essence. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I know last fall and last summer, your committee was vetting a lot of these sites that had been submitted to us, and you all made an initial recommendation. Have you all had any discussions since then of other sites, or you just stuck with I think there was 4 that you recommended to the county?
Yes, ma'am. We recommended 4 sites to the Board of County Commissioners last September, and we have not discussed site location since.
Okay. And the 4 sites were 1901 East Grand,
2 at the airport,
2 near the airport,
and the existing site.
site.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
I don't know that there's any action to take on that. I think it was just discussion, right? Everybody feel that way? County clerk. Mr. Nelson.
Thank you. This agenda item has come from a number of conversations about the best location for the grant writer and the services that the grant writer provides. The grant writer came to our office a few months ago with the purchasing department. Before that, it was in the purchasing department under the leadership of the commission. The majority of the time of the grant writer right now is spent on BOCC matters. So this was just to start a discussion or to ask for decision, the will of the commission as to whether to move the grant writer and those responsibilities back to the BOCC. We prepared numbers on the cost associated with that so that if the commission wants to move forward, we're ready to go to the budget board or do whatever is necessary at that point to facilitate that move, if that's
Just
the will of the commission.
Real quick question. Is this gone to policy and governance if you presented this to that board so our chief deputies can discuss the best route of which to do this?
The way it was explained to me is that if the commission is not interested in it, then it would be kind of pointless to go to P&G, but I don't know. I mean, we'll go wherever we need to go to have the proper discussion. We would also need to go to BET, I'm guessing, to go to the budget board to move the money if the commission wants to do that. But I thought I'd rather know the will of the commission first.
And I'll make a motion to send it to policy and governance so they can discuss it there in a more open manner.
Okay.
Because discuss issues like this in this forum is probably not the best place for it. I mean, we don't typically discuss HR forums or HR issues in forums like this. Those are usually designed for executive session. It might be something that they might want to do in executive session in policy and governance. So that's my motion.
I'll kind of agree with this just in general. I do think it's appropriate for her to be under the board because a lot of the grants she's writing, the board has to approve. I think all the grants she writes, the board has to approve. So I'm comfortable moving it to P&G and letting that discussion happen of kind of who her day-to-day supervisor is and what's expected of her if she moves under the BOCC. So, but in general, I support this move. So I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Engineering?
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, this is a bridge in Arcadia on Westminster. It was through a federal grant program that was looking at small cities. We do the maintenance for those small cities. So they're the sponsor of the project, but we're helping with the design. The federal grant will pay for all the construction. So this is a three-way agreement between us, Arcadia, and ODOT to get this project moving forward.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This next item is an amendment with our geotechnical consultant that's doing the drilling for the jail sites. We have 2 drills to date, as you know. We've removed one of the airport sites, which is no longer in consideration in this contract. And we're adding the 74th and Rockwell site to be the next one drilled with your approval of this amendment of this contract today. I'll be bringing more sites to you in the future because all 3 districts are working very hard at finding new sites. Met with every office in the last couple of weeks, got several ideas. We have to vet those ideas though, and you have to get permission from the actual landowners, before you put them on an agenda. But part of the process is to be able to drill those sites, to know their technical viability to even really be considered. Mr. Kuhn, you just came back into the room, but I think this agenda item addresses the comment, or at least one of the questions you had. So, I'm just pointing out that this agenda item is about checking the environmental of one of the sites.
I'll move approval.
You don't wish to second?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't think we need to be looking at additional sites. We're risking $60 million.
So if we don't look at additional sites and 1901 grant doesn't work out, what do we do?
We've already done environmental and geotech on that site.
But what if we need to look at other sites?
We're going to have to look at other sites. I don't agree with this site because 1, it's a DEQ disaster. 2, there's not any sort of infrastructure or anything in the area. It's 20 miles out of the way. We increase the traffic time. We increase the cost of the facility. I mean, I just think this is us spinning our wheels and going nowhere. That's the way I feel
So
about
do
it.
you have other ideas for, if 1901 doesn't work out, do you have other ideas for where we should go?
I presented 5. How many of you presented?
Stockyards didn't work out.
Graham's not working out.
Okay.
I mean, how many more can I present to you guys?
Sir, were you trying to speak on this item?
Oh, I was down. I live close by. In fact, I walked through that area yesterday, and I invite you to go in that area after a pretty good rainstorm and see that all the water that is left standing in the fields there. It used to be after Hamilton Court, and
This is about 74th and Rockwell.
the water that fills up there. Oh, I'm sorry.
This one here on the agenda. I'm asking, do you have anything to say about this item? I'm not trying to cut you off. I just wanted to make sure before we vote on this item. As a matter of explanation, you have to have the property owner's consent before you can drill. So we've awaited whether or not this property owner would consent to that. We just received this. And so that's why it's just now on the agenda. Even though we might have been considering a site, you can't go drill on it until you've got property owner's permission. And I think that it's the prudent decision of this board not to acquire a property that hasn't been tested for environmental or bedrock concerns, because you wouldn't want a failed effort. So because of that,
Or any other infrastructure. For him to widen all the roads and bring buses down. That's a waste of taxpayer dollars.
okay, I'm going to make a second because we're just trying to find out this information. It in and of itself may disqualify the site. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed?
Nope.
Okay. Item 22. Stacy.
I'm sorry. This is on our new sheriff and emergency operations center at Kraus. There was design contingency in that contract with Lingo. We're going to use some of the design contingency for some of the changes that we're making now that we're past schematic design and into design. So it's $173,000 moving from design contingency into the designer's contract. So this is the first step, is to move it out of Lingo's, and then I'll be bringing you an item at a future meeting to move it into HMM's contract.
And just to clarify, it does say Oklahoma County Sheriff portion, design contingency, but you're saying this is for the Emergency Operations Center
Well,
that is?
there's another piece for the emergency operations center, but that's probably be addressed on the PBA.
Okay. I'll move approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Monroe.
Item 23 is an approval and final acceptance of the elevator work that was completed in the courthouse. If you remember, we took each of the 3 passenger elevators and replaced them, total replacement. So this is asking for your signature and acceptance that that job is complete, and we'll be ready for final payment.
Move approval.
Second.
Exciting. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you, Keith.
Okay, Dane.
Good morning. Item 24 is just a reduction in the services we provide to OSU. It's a smaller reduction of a couple of phone lines and a fax line. This just reflects the change.
And this doesn't affect their regular operations? Okay.
No, they actually asked for a couple of new phone lines as they hired a couple of new people, but then when they realized they weren't going to be in the building, they come back and they said, okay, we don't need them.
Okay.
So we amended it I want to say 3 months ago, and now we're amending it again.
Okay. Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Are you pitching for Eric?
Planning Commission item. This is a final plat of a subdivision that's in District 3, county line in 206th Street. It is 67 acres. It meets all of our requirements. We've been out to inspect the site, and we would recommend approval of the final plat.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Joe?
Good morning, Commissioners. As you recall, you had previously approved an ARPA project, and Accenture had vetted it and approved it as well. It was $250,000 to construct a jury pavilion down in the alleyway. Due to the nature of that project, limiting access somewhat and the number of utilities that are in that location, the court clerk has come up with an alternate project. Accenture's vetted it once conceptually. They agreed to it, and what that would be was to use wall dividers, if you will, in the jury assembly room to create rooms that they can partition off and place jurors in once they've been impaneled. It would necessitate the rearranging of David Barnes' space, potentially. He would lose, as you may recall, he has one private office. He would lose that. The equipment room that is crucial to our operations here would remain, and then the conference room may be configured in a different manner, but David would have a footprint and remain on site. We would need to get an architect on board, and so our recommendation to you is to go forward with the new request from the court clerk, provided that Mr. Barnes stays on campus. We hire an architect, and Accenture fully signs off on the project. So the next step would be to get the architect, and most importantly, that the project remain within the $250,000 that had been approved. And we're looking at about 210 to 215 for construction. We've had some admin fees that have come out for our owner's rep, then the architect, and then the balance could be used for the construction.
Can you say again what's going to happen to David Barnes's office space?
Yes. So currently, David has the equipment room, a conference room, and then attached to the conference room is one small office that he works in. David said that he could forego the office space if we had access to a conference room and the equipment room remains. And in our intent would be not to touch that equipment room at all, because of the amount of equipment that would need to be moved and then reconnected and wiring, cabling, et cetera, done. So our recommendation to you is to move forward with the scope change on this project.
Mr. Barnes, do you have anything to add? You don't have to if you don't. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Is there a motion?
I'll move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Sheriff?
This is an MOU between us and the Department of Mental Health Substance Abuse Services. They're excited about the progress we've made with our mental health program with our deputies, so they are funding another one at 100%. So it's a win-win for everybody.
So Captain Bradley will get a
Yes,
buddy.
he'll get, yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes, yes.
I will move approval. Thank you to Department of Mental Health.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner comments, District 1?
I know a lot of folks have left, but in regards to people's requests that we remove 1901 East Grand from the agenda, we are not able to do that today, or we're not able to discuss, the commissioners are not able to discuss any of the properties because they are not on the agenda today. We had no new information to receive. So I just wanted to make that clear that we are not able to take action today because those items are not on our agenda. And I also want to thank everyone who came to the town hall Monday night. I attended as well. I was not involved in the planning, but wanted to attend and be there and listen. And it was a pretty good turnout. So I want to thank folks for showing up and being engaged in this process.
District 3.
Just wanted to say the last BOCC for Dawn Cash is today, and I really appreciate her year. She's moving on to greener pastures and much bigger and better things, and will be much more visible. But appreciate your time here and look forward to cranking Colton up a little bit. Please feel free to harass him as much as possible.
Certainly, there was a big turnout from the community for Mr. Ravitz's funeral yesterday, and particularly a lot of past county leaders reunited, many of whom have had their battles, not dissimilar to ones we've seen exchanged here lately. And I thought it was a huge testament to him and his tenure that all of those put all their past, and some of those officials dated back many years ago, and they still wanted to come back and honor his service. It was a moment of unity and solidarity for Oklahoma County, which I was proud of. And as it's been already said, he will be missed. Any new business? If not, is there a motion to recess into executive session for an HR item? Has nothing to do with the jail.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No, I was saying, yeah.
I'll move we return to regular session.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, is there any action on 929? I don't think so.
Well, I guess we could strike. Or no action.
I think no action, maybe, if you're okay with that. Any other citizens to be heard? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, get out of here. Is there a farewell party for Dawn?
There's not. Somebody doesn't believe in a lot of fanfare. No.
Well, we're getting ready to have another meeting. You're on the air. Just so you know. Okay, is there a motion to go into the PBA? Okay, we've got,
I'm in.
I mean, we're all in. Not a motion, but are confirming, are we all in? Okay, I'll call it to order. All three trustees are present. It was properly posted on January 29th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of January 24?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve the claims?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
District 3.
This is not needed. Motion to strike.
You want to strike it?
Well, it's not needed.
Okay. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we have a parking spot.
Motion to approve parking spot. Fortney Housley.
Did you click it?
I did.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any citizens who wish to speak before the PBA? Seeing none. Any board comments or new business? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Whose turn is it?